What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today with another market watch. It has been a little bit since we've done one, and that is not due to lack of content. Believe me, there's a lot going on this market, and I really should be doing more of these. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it here. Flick Knives going absolutely crazy. Cheapest copy on the market is $70. This is, of course, on the back of the hero text box reveals that came out this weekend. Makes a lot of sense. Flick Knives seems very good in the new Ninja. We're kind of speculating a little bit on what the daggers do, but it seems like if you're able to reliably get going with the daggers, it'll be a free Flick Knives every turn because you could dagger hero power, re-equip a dagger that you flicked, right? You like dagger, flick the first dagger, then re-equip the dagger. So it seems like a free Flick Knives every turn. You really can't pass that up. That seems like a lot of value. 1 extra damage a turn, as we know from a hero like Ira, can be very powerful. And that's with no additional outside synergies, right? There are other cards that will surely be printed that will help this out. Cards that currently already exist as well, right? Think of something like Stab Wound or something like that. A lot of cards rely on daggers hitting and dagger hitting synergies. So yeah, Flick Knives definitely going to be good in that deck based off everything we know. Again, cheapest rainbow foil on the market is $70. Cheapest cold foil is $110. Moving on, Erase Face, cheapest rainbow foil on the market is $20. And the cheapest non-foil is $15.50 basically. Makes sense. This card just keeps getting better and better. Every set, they release a lot of talent synergies, and being able to take away all of the talents puts Erase Face in a very good spot. Has just been, if you look at the graph, again, better and better every set. Being able to take away the Draconic tagline, being able to make Syndra not be able to re-equip her daggers because they're not Draconic. Seems very good, even if only for a turn. 2 for 6, you can't hate it. Stamp Authority, cheapest copy on the market is $10.50. This is totally crazy. I don't even think this card is good in the slightest. I understand why it's going up because of Jarl, specifically the new Jarl boots that get +1 while it's defending with an aura. So people are just looking at this because it's a blue block 3 aura. I'm pretty positive this isn't going to make the cut in any way. Not only is there better auras that you could be playing to synergize with those boots, but I just don't even think that those boots are that good to want to lean into it that heavily and mess with your deck like that hard to be able to do that. Other than that, the text on it is not that relevant. It's definitely not why you're playing the card. You're playing it just for those boots, and I don't think it's worth it. I imagine this card's going to come down quite a bit. If you don't have it and you're looking to get it, I would wait a little bit. Felling of the Crown, cheapest copy on the market, is nearly $50. Yeah, there's only 2 up here for less than 50. Then they jump up quite quick. Look at this graph. It's just a straight up shot. Also on the back of Jarl hype. Makes a lot of sense. Felling of the Crown is objectively an insanely powerful card. I do want to say this about Jarl, though. A lot of new players are very excited for Jarl and want to build him and want to play him. The overwhelming majority of my locals are looking to build Jarl, and I imagine a lot of your guys' locals are the same. I do think that of the people who are going to pick up Jarl, they're obviously not all going to stick with it. I think probably like 50% of the Jarl players are going to drop the deck within a month or less, and I think a lot of this stuff is going to come back on the market a lot cheaper than it is that you see it here. Like I said, within the month, January 1st comes around, this stuff is all going to be cheaper. I can almost guarantee it, just because Jarl, I'm sure he's fun, I'm sure he's a good hero and whatnot, but he's just probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It would be very abnormal if everyone just stuck with Jarl and kept playing him. Just as far as everything I know about Flesh and Blood, those kind of decks are never the most popular, and new players particularly never like playing that style of deck. New players typically gravitate towards more aggressive decks, so I think a lot of it's going to fall off. People are going to put this stuff back on the market, but yeah, I guess time will tell. Felling of the Crown, $50. It is kind of worth it though. Felling is a very good card. Concealed Blade, next card I want to talk about. Cheapest copy on the market is $13. Syndra probably not going to want to play this just because she could re-equip so easily that it probably won't make the cut. Being able to give a card +1, it depends, right? How many on hits she has. Maybe you need to like on hit mark people. That's like the only way you could mark them is like when this hits, mark a hero, and then maybe Concealed Blade makes a cut just to be able to enable that part of her text box. I'm not 100% sure, but with what we have revealed so far, it makes sense that Concealed Blade has come down a little bit. Last time we seen this card, I think it was like at $16, $17, so it makes sense that it's falling a little bit. Unsheathed, cheapest unsheathed on the market is $15 for the non-foil, and if we want to look at the rainbow foil, there's only 4 listings up here, and the cheapest copy is like $45. Totally crazy. Do not buy the rainbow foil for that price tag. Just stick with the non-foil for now. I just don't understand why Unsheathed is going so crazy when it says your next sword attack. None of the cards revealed have anything to do with sword. I get there's a new warrior coming, but it has nothing to do with sword. So I don't understand why people are buying Unsheathed. I just don't, maybe they just don't know about this. Maybe this is the first you're hearing of it and you bought a playset of Unsheathed. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think this is also going to come down a bit as more and more cards get revealed and it becomes more and more clear that we are not getting swords. Moving on, Swarming Gloomveil. I think the big stories of today's Market Watch is obviously, of course, like Fang and Syndra text box reveals are obviously going to affect the market. But outside of that, I think it seems like, based on a market standpoint, and you'll probably agree with me by the end of the video as we look at more cards, but it seems like a lot of people are building Vincent, and Ira is also having a huge impact on the market. So like those two heroes, Vincent and Ira, huge impacts on the market. Maybe it's not particularly Vincent, maybe it's more like Viserai, but either way, like something in that rune, like in that mono rune blade lane, like maybe Aurora players are switching to Viserai or Vincent. I'm not quite 100% sure either way. But yeah, mono rune blades and Ira, and then also the hero text box reveals, of course. Anyway, Swarming Gloomveil, cheapest copy, period. I know this is a rainbow foil, but that's just the cheapest one on the market. Cheapest copy, period, is $30, and there's very, very few listings up here as well. There's like 20 left. Makes a lot of sense. Everfest Majestic. Fans of the channel know how much we love to talk about how expensive Everfest Majestics are. And Swarming Gloomveil is no exception. Moving on, Funeral Moon. Here you go. Funeral Moon's going up quite a bit. This is like $6.50, $5.50, something like that shipped. This is not even like a good card. This is such a narrow card. You could really only play it in Vincent. Yes, I understand Living Legend. You could play it in Chain. But yeah, this is a perfect example of why I think people are building Vincent. There's still quite a few copies left on the market, but a Dusk Till Dawn, barely playable Majestic, reaching this price tag, it's got to tell you something, right? This is why I think people are probably leaning towards Vincent, and that's why I'm not so sure to call it Viserai moving the market. Anyway, cheapest copy, like I said, like $5.50 for the non-foil, and then for the rainbow foil, it's about the same price. So don't let what happened to Unsheathed happen to you with Funeral Moon. If you want Funeral Moon, just get it foil. I always hear people at locals say this too, like they're like, because I foil out my decks, that's just what I do. And people always look at my stuff and be like, wow, you got it foil. Oh, you know, they kind of like throw a little jab at me or whatever. Wow, this guy has everything. He's even got foil this. Every time I buy one of these foils, it's always like the same exact price as the non-foil. Like with Funeral Moon here, maybe it's $1, $2 more expensive. If there is like a huge substantial difference between the foil and the non-foil, most of the time I do lean towards the non-foil. So if I was to be buying Unsheathed right now, if I needed 3 of the card, I would absolutely buy the non-foil. I'm not married to having foils. I like them, I prefer them, and if the price is close, I'll go foil. So yeah, I just kind of went on that tangent a little bit just to tell you guys, if it's close, just get the foils. The foils are always worth more in the long run. So yeah, remotely close, please just do yourself a favor. Get the foils. Moving on, Persuasive Prognosis. Let me get off my soapbox here on foils. Cheapest Persuasive Prognosis is like $13 right now. And then the cheapest rainbow foil is like $14. So it's also relatively close. And Persuasive Prognosis going up a little bit here. You see on this graph, it was like $8, $9, $10 earlier, and it shot up to like 13. And I think the big reason that Persuasive Prognosis is going up and Bonds of Agony isn't is because Bonds of Agony, you need the 3 reactions, of course, and most of the time in new, you're triggering that off of your gloves. So your gloves is 1 reaction, and then the Slither it makes, or the Fang Strike it makes, I guess I could say your gloves or your boots. It's 2 reactions, either one you activate, right? Because it's gloves give you the 1 token, and the boots give you the other. I don't remember off the top of my head right now. I think it's boots is Slither, gloves is Fang. I get the names confused. I've never played the hero. Give me a break. But you know what I'm getting at here. If the new Arachne isn't able to play those gloves or boots, it may be a lot harder for Arachne to get to that 3 reaction threshold that is required to turn on the Bonds of Agony, whereas Persuasive is always live. Anytime if it ever hits, you're getting the effect. So this card is way more guaranteed to be good in Arachne than Bonds of Agony is. And if I was only able to pick up one or the other, if I could only afford one or the other, I definitely would choose Persuasive Prognosis, although I do think they are both quite good, and I do think you should have a playset of both if you're looking to play Assassin. But yeah, Persuasive Prognosis going up a little bit here. Haunting Rendition, cheapest Haunting Rendition on the market, is $6.08 for the non-foil, and for the rainbow foil, it's about $8. This card is very, very good in Vincent, being able to prevent 2 and get the Rune Chant, enable your next turn while blocking damage. Reminds me a lot of Take It on the Chin. Take It on the Chin, probably one of the best Kasai cards because it has that bimodal kind of property to it, in which it's very good in defense and offense. And Haunting Rendition is in that same bucket. I think it's a very fantastic card. And then it also has like the added additional layer of flexibility of being able to block 4. I guess it also does have the downside of not being able to be put in the arsenal, whereas Take It on the Chin can. Either way, still very, very powerful card. Cheapest rainbow, again, it's like $8 or $9. Cheapest non-foil is $6. And yeah, I think the rise in Vincent popularity is kind of pushing that up. Cornet Peak, cheapest copy on the market that's not moderately played, is $31. Again, this is off the back of the Jarl hype. I do think this is all going to come down in a couple weeks. But yeah, this guy has 10 of them for $31. Dang, that's crazy. I'm curious what the cold foil. There's only 1 cold foil left on the market, and it's $80. That's crazy. Definitely wait if you're looking to pick up this this 1 cold foil. Just give it a little bit of time there. Poison the Well, cheapest copy on the market, is $7.50, dropping quite a lot to no surprise. Cheapest rainbow foil is $11, and this is obviously because of the CYB banning of the blue CYB at least. So those decks are much less popular. You'll still see some news and some enigmas running them, but for the most part, those decks are way less popular than they used to be. I don't think it's worth getting rid of your Poison the Wells at this price tag. I don't think they're going to continue to go down, and Poison the Well is one of those cards that has such lasting power to me, such staying power. This could be good at any moment, at any time, ever. You should put this in a stack or in a box or in your binder off to the side and never trade it, never get rid of it. And when Cleric comes out, or when CYB gets unbanned, or when they print another broken healing card, you'll thank yourself for not selling it at $7, $11 for the foil. This is crazy. Just keep it. Like, there's no reason to get rid of it. Like, are you struggling? Like, if you're really struggling for the $20, I guess get rid of them. But I think that this card is going to almost certainly going to be good again. They even said in the banned and suspended announcement that they're going to unban CYB blue at some point. So there you go. There's a guaranteed avenue that Poison the Well is going to be good. We know Cleric is coming. There's just so many reasons. Just don't get rid of them. Corrosive Tendency, cheapest copy on the market, is about $10. Arachne specialization with a decent effect. I think it makes a lot of sense. Not really a lot to say on it. Nothing like, no like new info. We just know we're getting an Arachne. So yeah, of course he's going to play Corrosive Tendency. That's going to make a lot of sense to me. Cheapest copy on the market, about $10 shipped. Tome of the Imperial Flame. This one isn't getting as much hype as I would expect it to. and maybe that's just because these decks aren't going to be totally redline that come out, which is very possible. But one of the big like drawbacks, one of the big stipulations of Tome is that you must be royal to play it, and these new heroes coming out are innately royal. So it's pretty safe to assume that Tome of the Imperial Flame will make its way into the deck, assuming that they're more redline. But if they're very reliant on their weapons and the weapons cost one, maybe they won't be redline. And I think it's almost guaranteed that the weapons cost at least one as well, because there is like a hypothetical world where they cost nothing. But the hero text box reveals kind of shoot that down, because the new warrior says that your dagger attacks cost one less. So it really wouldn't make sense to print that on the card if they cost 0. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit risky, but since they're royal, I think it's definitely worth having a playset. Again, cheapest copy on the market is like $56. Cheapest rainbow foil on the market is just a little bit more at $62. Moving on, tenacity. The hero powers all say like if you hit a marked hero, do something. So if your opponent's marked, they're probably going to go into like full blocking mode, right? They're gonna be like, I'm marked, I'm not getting hit, forget that. And they're just gonna throw everything they have, their armor, everything at you to prevent themselves from getting hit on that turn. Maybe take some damage on the next turn when they're not marked. But either way, tenacity, well, that's gonna be like their hope, right? But tenacity is going to pull a lot of weight while they're marked and trying to block out. If they block everything with like equipment, cards in hand, whatnot, even if they still have a card, 2 cards in hand at the end of the combat chain, and you end it with a tenacity, yeah, they're not gonna be happy. They're not gonna be able to block that out. Seems very good. Also, a Mask of the Pouncing Lynx targets. Tenacity, I don't think has ever had its day in the sun, and the Hunted could absolutely be its time to shine. Cheapest copy on the market is like $6-7 for the rainbow foil, and for the non-foil, it's like $3 or $4. If you don't have like a playset of this, I highly recommend it. I imagine it would probably only like 2 would wind up getting played, but I'd still just grab a playset. You just never know. Knives Out, cheapest copy on the market is like $6.57 for the non-foil, and the rainbow foil is $10. Your daggers get +1 this turn. Seems very, very good when you're swinging multiple times with your daggers. If you swing with each dagger twice, Knives Out becomes a blue block 3 reaction that gives +4. It just doesn't take a Michael Hamilton to be able to realize why the numbers on that card seem very, very good. If you don't have a playset, just bite the bullet and get them. I don't imagine they're going to come down much more from that. Censored, cheapest copy on the market, $14 for the non-foil, and for the rainbow foil is $17. Censor, of course, pretty much a staple in Ira, being able to go Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 2, Censor for 5, 2-card 8 with a meaningful on-hit in a block 3. Seems very, very good. Yeah, pretty much every Ira is playing this. This is part of the reason why I say Ira is kind of influencing the market quite heavily. Moving on, Rouse the Ancients. Cheapest Rouse the Ancients is only $6 right now, and it does seem quite good. There's a couple different ways it could be good. It could be played in Jarl, just depending on your deck configuration. Who knows, maybe if the aura, the blue auras become very popular, then Rouse won't quite make its way in. But the thing about Rouse is it's also just a generic, right? So there could be, at any time, like a Brute could come out, or, you know, like even like an Illusionist, like Prism could play this theoretically, right? There's a lot of ways Rouse could become good. It's just one of those like staple Majestics, and it's definitely creeping up. So I'm not sure what has happened lately that is making Rouse go so crazy. Like I see the potential of Rouse, but I don't know why it's going crazy. I think it's just like, people are just buying everything that they can in anticipation for Jarl. I'm just not fully sold Jarl plays it, because even if you're not playing the auras, your blues are probably going to be like ice and earth cards, which traditionally are not giving Rouse go again. So I'm not fully understanding. I see the long-term goal. I see the long-term vision, but I'm not seeing it in the short term. Either way, if you don't have this one, I really do think you should have it. These generic Majestic staples go crazy. Like when they go crazy, they go crazy. I don't need to tell you that. Look at Warmongers. Look at Command and Conquer. So many cards that I could use as an example. The rainbow foil is only $7 right now. I think it's highly worth it. Succumb to Temptation, cheapest copy on the market, is up to $17 for Succumb to Temptation. Absolutely crazy. Cheapest rainbow foil is approximately the same price. Again, this could be Viscerai, this could be Vincent. Either way, probably both, honestly, to some extent. Succumb to Temptation, very good card, going up quite a bit. Ira herself, this got down to $10 at one point, and it has definitely bounced back. Cheapest copy of Ira on the market right now is at $15. Flamescale Furnace, cheapest rainbow foil on the market is $80, and the cheapest cold foil on the market is $130. I kind of believe in this card less and less the more cards that get revealed, the more cards that we see. Same with Tome. That's why I was kind of like not as hype on Tome as I was last time we talked about it, because like with Dromai, there was like a built-in, very obvious, very important reason to want to play all reds in your deck. But given the like current, like if the hero just came out as is right now with no additional support, no additional cards, why would we make her red line? We wouldn't. And if we're not making her red line, or him, if you're looking at the warrior, either of the new heroes, why would we make either of them red line? It doesn't make any sense at all. So if we're not making them red line, then we're not forced to pitch reds. And if we're not forced to pitch reds, then Flamescale Furnace starts making a lot less sense, particularly for the warrior who doesn't care at all about the block, right? He already has a card that blocks 2 and blocks 1 in the chest slot. I guess the ninja, you could make an argument like you would still play Flamescale for the block value. But the warrior doesn't have that same argument, and it's possible, I guess, that new cards could come out. Like maybe the daggers say, like if you played a red card last chain link, this gets go again or something, and it will be very obvious that we'll need to play more and more red cards. But given the current card pool that we have, the current revealed cards that we have, it actually makes not a lot of sense to want Flamescale Furnace. So don't feel like you must have this card at this moment. It's probably going to be played, but I don't, it just like right now it's not screaming, it's like important, you know what I mean? Like whereas Flick Knives, it's like, oh, you need Flick Knives based on everything we know right now. Flamescale Furnace is still in that spec category, whereas Flick Knives has like ascended to no longer speculation, and it's confirmed you need it. Moving on, Heart of Ice, cheapest Heart of Ice on the market is $56. Oh my gosh. There's only one up here for $56, and then it jumps to, dang, look at this. There's only, 6 copies left on the market? How did I not see this? There's one up here for $56, and then it jumps to 70, and there's 2 for 70, and then it jumps to 150. This is totally crazy. If you don't have your Heart of Ice, they're disappearing fast. They're disappearing very fast. You guys know my thoughts on Heart of Ice. I talked about it last video. But yeah, they're disappearing very, very fast. Stalagmite has gone absolutely crazy ever since we got the weapon reveal. Cheapest copy on the market is $87.50. I am definitely late on this one. I should have done a market watch last week and talked about it. But yeah, I can't say anything about this card that you guys don't already know, so we're just going to go ahead and move on there. Black Tag Whispers, cheapest copy on the market, is $34. I think the Assassin hype hasn't fully hit yet, but we know that they're revealing what Chaos means next month, and we're probably going to get a batch of Assassin cards to go with that reveal. So yeah, I bet you cards like Black Tech Whispers are just going to go absolutely crazy. I pull up Black Tech Whispers in particular because it's the best boots currently that Arachne can play. Arachne cannot play the Mystic Assassin boots, which are the favorite in new. So that's why this card like isn't expensive currently, is because new is the best assassin. And if the best assassin's not playing the boots, then you know what I mean? It's, of course, the price isn't going to be too crazy. But if Arachne comes out and competes with new, then of course Black Tech goes totally wild. Even if he doesn't compete with new, or even if Arachne doesn't compete with new, you know, just the fact that people are going to still want to build him and still want to play him will shoot the price of this card quite high up there. Leave No Witnesses, cheapest copy on the market is $20. Cheapest rainbow foil is $25. Yeah, every assassin forever is going to play Leave No. This card is like actually insane, particularly when paired with Codex of Frailty. Yeah, there's nothing I can say about this card either that hasn't been said already. Obviously, it's going to be good, and when we get the assassin cards revealed to us, It's going to be even more expensive than it is now. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting it now if you're interested in the class. Jack-O-Lantern, red promo Jack-O-Lantern. This is for the red line Vincent builds that are out there in the wild and definitely exist. It's actually quite a powerful deck. But yeah, this is also another good indicator. This card's going up quite a bit. It's at $10 nearly. And this is quite a good indicator that people are looking at cooking, brewing, and building Vincent. Dietic Carapace falling down actually quite a bit. Cheapest copy on the market is $57 for the rainbow foil, which is down quite a bit from like the $80, $70, $80 that it was just like a month ago, not even that long ago. Tectonic Plating going up. Look at that graph, just goes totally crazy. Cheapest copy on the market is $42. People are just buying anything and everything that Jarl can play. Macho Grande Extended Art. Look at this graph as well, going totally crazy. Cheapest copy on the market for the Extended Art Macho Grande is $3 right now. It's actually still kind of cheap, I think. If the guard, like, I don't know, I just feel like every Guardian's going to play this card. So if you're interested in the class, I think it's worth picking up a playset for like, you know, $8 or $9 here. But yeah, it's also going up. Blaze Headlong, the Extended Art Blaze Headlong, has gone absolutely terminal. Cheapest copy on the market is $93. And dang, only 2 exist on the market, and they're both from unverified sellers. So yeah, we're going to call Blaze Headlong sold out. I think that's fair. This is a Rudy promo from way back in the Uprising days. Yeah. Mask of Momentum, cheapest copy on the market is $65. Gone up quite a bit. And again, I think this is on the back of Ira Hype. Everyone loves the hero. A lot of people cooking with it at my locals personally. If you're going to buy this or anything else we talked about in today's Market Watch, please do so using the TCG player affiliate link in the description below. I think I'm going to upload another Market Watch relatively soon here. This one was more like news oriented. I want to do one. I think there's a lot of like good deals on the market right now. Because it's the end of the year, the holiday times, people are just getting rid of stuff for cheap. There's some crazy deals out there if you're willing to dig and find them. I think I'm going to do a video on that here shortly, hopefully within the week. By Friday, I'll have it out for you guys. Either way, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and help the algorithm help me out just a little bit. Later, gamers.